broke him down. I watched a lot of film on him. He is absolutely special. I'm excited for this young man's career, but that is high praise, being up there with 1-7, Devontae Adams.
What's interesting is Ayuk said that the Packers were one of the teams he met with in the pre-draft process, and he thought that might have been where he landed. Instead, he was picked number 25 overall by the 49ers, one pick ahead of the Packers, number 26 pick, of course, the developmental quarterback, and Jordan Love. There's been a lot of speculation this week whether the Packers would go for a receiver at the trade deadline. They did not. They'll get an up-close and personal look tomorrow night at what could have been for the Packers at receiver.
This is one of those games where we're just going to have to wait and see who gets on the field and then how quickly the defenses will step up when you guys are talking about two receivers who have gone out and shown out so far this season. Omar and JJ, thanks. All right, it's not quite past.
It's always been in my mind just because we lost that game, and I hate having turnovers. But you got to move on. You just like during the game, if I had a turnover, I keep it going. Score the next drive, so I can't dwell on it. You got to move forward, and that's what we're doing now. The game is over with. I'm mad about the result, but we'll see them again.
All right, here's a look at how the AFC playoff picture is showing up. So right now, the Steelers, of course, undefeated at the top of that AFC picture there. The Kansas City Chiefs 7-1, the Bills 6-2, Titans 5-2. Wild card, look at the Ravens right there in the hunt. Look, the Raiders, the Dolphins, and the Broncos. All right, Willie, Baltimore needs a boost here. All right, will this be a bounce-back game for the 5-2 Ravens, who face the Colts, by the way, who have the same record?
I know, and that's not a get back on track, because it won't be an easy win for the Ravens, but they do need to win. And when you look at what the Colts are doing well, they're protecting Phillip Rivers. He's not giving up a lot of sacks, partly because of that great offensive line. The other part is because he's getting the ball out in 2.5 seconds. If I'm the Ravens, offensively, I'm not really worried about them. If I'm the Ravens, I got to figure out how to get to Phillip Rivers and turn him into what JJ calls them filthy rivers, where he's throwing interceptions. The 2 games he's lost, he's thrown 2 or more interceptions. They got to make him throw the ball to the Ravens, get pressure, throw the ball to the Ravens. So that's the secret sauce. Other than that, it's going to be tough.
Well, this is the point of the year, too, where everybody has to get creative, get those guys over the hump, yes, especially with added X factors like what we've seen teams dealing with, Willie. All right, Kurt Warner didn't get a gold jacket by just making throws. He had an uncanny ability to read the game, to see what was going to happen before it happened, and that's a skill we can work with. After the break, Kurt's 3 things to look for this Sunday. But first, here's what we overheard today.
I was ready to go with it.
A lot of time out for the game, to reevaluate myself.
I can go, so that's the most exciting.
That I don't have 10 years left in this league. I personally believe that I do have a few more great ones left in me. I'm not looking to rebuild. I'm looking to go after a championship.
Although, now, Kurt, I love a good story. I love a plot twist even more. So what are your top 3 quarterback storylines to watch in Week 9?
Well, MJ, we've got some good ones, and it's going to start in Tennessee. And the first storyline is, which Nick Foles are we going to get? But they're hanging on and not hitting on all cylinders quite yet. So I want to see how this plays out in round 2, but everybody's going to be locked into that one.
Kurt, I had to suppress my happiness just a little bit there because I saw that mention of the Dolphins defense, and I like it. I feel it. But yes, an intense week, no doubt. You can watch Kurt and the entire Game Day morning crew Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern on NFL Network.
I believe JoJo Burrow is due for a big week, and this is his time to upset the world and show people that he has the Cincinnati shit going. They are going to win this game. You see it. It's going to be close. 28-27. You shake your head all you want, Mike Rob. It's going down. The Bengals, JoJo Burrow.
Oh, James Jones, we all looked at you a little sideways on that one, but he came through with a major upset alert prediction last week. So, James, what team should be on upset alert for Week 9?
JoJo Burrow. I told y'all, man, the best thing about that video is watching my dog Mike Rob look at me like I'm tripping. I told him what was going to happen and what was going to go down. But listen, this week, MJ, my upset, I love the Bears and Nick Foles going to give the Tennessee Titans their 3rd straight loss. Their 3rd straight loss. Listen, you stop Derrick Henry straight
loss.
James, I know I give you a hard time, but trust, I pay very close attention to you, especially after last week. JJ, thanks. And we have some great matchups in Week 9, including the 4-3 Finns against the Cardinals. I mean, Tua and Kyler, come on. But the early window has some big games as well, including the Seahawks and Bills in a battle of division leaders. For more on that one, here's George Shivery. The list of names is endless, and the stories could go on for days. But the focus now is to amplify the lives of those Black women who were killed and to stop that list from getting any longer. Joining me now to continue the conversation is Saints defensive end Cam Jordan. And Cam, just last week I shared my personal essay on the Say Her Names initiative, and we have been in a group chat along with several of your teammates just ahead of this player-led initiative of Say Her Name with the Saints. What have you gleaned from speaking with the families of these Black women who will never get to live out the dreams, and how has it impacted your work in the community?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, when you think about just what we go through in our everyday life, about what we see from everywhere from, the Breonna Taylors, the Onyx Stanley Jones, everything that we're being, we're witnessing in this day and age, you realize how many people are really affected by this. And in this, you always hear about the facts, but at the end of the day, I feel like women go so much harder on taking up for men than I feel like we can do more for women.
One of the most impactful parts about all of that, Cam, was how you guys reached out directly to Black women within the business to get that perspective. Very intentional, very thoughtful there. But of course, all of this work really going towards true change, affecting true change within our country and with our community. And of course, we've seen incredible voter turnout this year. How proud are you about being part of this initiative to really get out the vote this year?
Man, I mean, every like 4 years it comes about. It's like, it's time to vote. It's like there's more to vote in than just every 4 years. There's your ground up elections that you have to worry about. It's who's going to be your councilmen, who's going to be your aldermen, who's going to be your judges locally before you ever get to this platform of now presidential. And of course, you talk about the Senate and the House and what the few props we get to vote on. But there's so many things we can do locally before we ever get to this platform. I like to show that side as well.
You said it right there perfectly. The local effects, the day-to-day, the everyday things you do. So before we get to X's and O's, tell me about your Dream Builders Fund.
Dream Builders, I'm always looking to do something more in New Orleans, and sort of happening to team up with Youth Empowerment Project, which I found a couple years ago, and they've been so phenomenal. The YEP program has been awesome. Just in terms of how many kids go through it and what they do with their kids. I mean, last year they made my cleats, My Cause My Cleats, or no, 2 years ago they made My Cause My Cleats, and probably will do it again this year. I mean, these kids are just so energetic, and yet they have so much life ahead of them. It's like I just want to do whatever I can to try and team up and encourage them to keep on being great.
Cam Jordan, unbelievably busy off the field as always, but a full workload every week on the field as well. And this week, Saints-Bucks Part 2, that's our NFL Total Access Game of the Week. So how excited are you to get after Tom Brady and the Bucks, and maybe remind them, hey, who's won the NFC South the last 3 years?
Look, we've got a heavy game ahead of us. You talk about Tom Brady, every week they add, so it's going to be a battle. I'm looking forward to it.
When you got two goats on the field and Breeze and Brady, the onus is going to be on guys like you on defense, Cam. Thanks for your time. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing what happens out on the field on Sunday.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me on.
Great. Welcoming back Mike Garafolo for some breaking news now. Mike, more players have been added to the COVID reserve list for the 49ers ahead of their Thursday night game against the Packers.
That's right, MJ. We told you earlier in the show the 49ers were still going through the process of contact tracing to see if there were any close contacts or high-risk close contacts to Kendrick Bourne, who tested positive and was placed on the list earlier. That process is now complete. 3 players have gone on the list of officially. The Niners have announced that. Trent Williams, the left tackle, wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, and wide receiver Deebo Samuel. Now, Samuel was already out for tomorrow's game. Those other two, obviously key players, they will miss the game. According to the league rules, you now have to be on the COVID list for at least 5 days if you are considered a high-risk close contact. That is the case here. So more bodies being lost for the 49ers here in a season that just keeps on keeping on for these guys. They're playing the game. It's on schedule. They're going to have to call guys up from their practice squad, including former Bears top pick Kevin White at the wide receiver position.
Next man up at every turn, Mike Garafolo covering every detail. Thank you. All right, you see it all the time in sports. A guy gets a championship and then he gets lazy. A player gets paid and then he gets soft. Well, Patrick Mahomes is not that guy and not that player. After the break, is the former MVP better than ever? Now, it's the Chiefs for the Panthers. Willie and JJ, this is one of my top games to watch this week. How does one stop this Chiefs offense if you're on defense?
It's tough. And I think offensively, look at JJ. Offensively, I think that the Panthers got a good shot with Christian McCaffrey coming back. Defensively, it's a problem. This is a well-balanced Chiefs offense. Attack going into, it's going to be a problem. So how are you going to stop them? You're not going to want to go tit for tat with this offense and try to outscore them. So you got to figure out how to negate some of those weapons, and they haven't been doing that defensively.
A great setup for the next question for JJ here. Probably a tougher question. JJ, what's a winning game plan here if you're the Panthers?
I mean, you've seen Big Money Pat out there slinging the ball all over the yard last game, man. I think 5 touchdown passes. Listen, so the best defense is to keep him on that sideline so he don't even have a chance to throw this ball. So listen, the best thing that happened when Christian McCaffrey was hurt was you found out that you have arguably played drives, eat the clock up, and finish with touchdowns. But I believe in this package. You put Mike Davis, Christian McCaffrey, you got Samuels, and you got Robbie Anderson out there and DJ Moore. You could really eat up some clock and go down there and score some touchdowns and keep Patrick Mahomes on that sideline and all those weapons, and that is the formula to win this ball game.
JJ saying pop, pop, 1-2 punch. That's how you get it. I like it. I see you guys. All right, guys, thanks. And the first game of the week is James Jones' first chance of the week to make a shocking prediction. But is he willing to pick against his beloved Packers? Stay tuned. The winner and the score of Thursday Night Football, that's coming up next.
With NFL Game Day morning, Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern.
No better day to game day. Let's go.
Seattle is letting Russ cook, so when Mooch heard that, he insisted on sitting down with the Seahawks star.
Russell extends the play, rolling out to his right side. Touchdown, Seahawks!
Mooch goes one-on-one with the MVP frontrunner. And Ryan Tannehill sure has turned around his career in Tennessee.
Tannehill throwing, Davis catching. Touchdown, Titans!
Kay Adams sits down with the Titans quarterback. Plus, Kurt Warner breaks down Breeze versus Brady with first place on the line. All that and more on NFL Game Day morning, Sunday at 9 a.m.
On the bench for this one. While we're at it, let's take a look at my least favorite day to look at pick standings. Both Willie and I, 3 and 4. And James Jones in the lead at 5 and 2 with his Thursday night picks. Last week, correctly picking the Falcons. James Jones coming through. Let's do it again. Willie, who you got? Packers or 49ers?
He says a couple more 49ers that's out. My original score was 35-17 going with the Packers. Now it's 45-17. I'm going with the Packers.
Mix that up.
I don't care how many running backs is not playing for the Packers. He gonna sling that thing all over the yard.
You know, I can't go against my pack, so I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm taking the Packers. But I do still believe, even with all these injuries, I think this game is going to be close. The Packers have not stopped the run all season long. You better believe Kyle Shanahan and the Niners are still going to try to run this ball, and they're going to try to run it down their throat. I do think they make this game competitive. It gets nasty, it gets ugly, but Aaron Rodgers finds a way to will the Packers to victory.
JJ, 2 of their best blockers are now playing, Trent Williams and George Kittle.
It keeps piling on.
And George Kittle. That's 2 of their best blockers. That's who opens up most of those lanes.
Listen.
And you know what, Willie? We was all saying this stuff when Tampa Bay Buccaneers was playing the New York Giants. This game is over. They're going to put up 40. Next thing you know, Danny Dimes got a chance to get a 2-point conversion to go into overtime. Hey, that's why we play them, Willie.
You're right.
Earlier this morning, we were like, oh man, this one could be a little closer than we all thought. And then more news broke and more people got added to the list. And now we're like, no, there's a reason why all three of us picked the Packers. This is that bad juju that's over Santa Clara. I don't know what's happening there. I told you guys, they need all the sage, but I do have the Packers winning it 36-21. This is just too big of a hurdle to overcome. Too many guys out, and the guys are remote. James?
He wants to say,
I hope you and Willie don't jinx me on my Thursday night.
Maybe that's the strategy all along. All right, we will pick the rest of the games on Friday on NFL Total Access, starting at 7 Eastern right here on the NFL Network. For Willie McGinnis, James Jones, everybody behind the scenes here, I'm MJ Acosta-Ruiz. Stay safe. See you tomorrow. Good night.
Phil, I pride myself in being the guy who stay in hot conditions and being physical fit. It's been a lot of year and a half working out at parks and not being able to get a lot of rewards. So it's grateful to be in a position where, I could work out and get an opportunity to play in the game and get some rewards.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Jenna Lane.
Hi, Antonio. I'm just wondering, what have you been doing in the last several months since you've been away from football, and what have you learned about yourself during that time?
Well, I just been spending a lot of time with family, working on myself within, and just staying resilient. Keeping the mind on the mission. That's being a football player and doing all the things that come with that. Even when the times get hard, keeping myself in shape, keeping myself motivated from within, not listening to the naysayers or not giving doubt or worries about will I be able to return. I had good trainers, good people around me in my corner that kept me encouraged, that kept me motivated, and I just believed. I knew one day I would get a chance to be back in this position, and I just try to check every box to make sure when I was able to get back that I was ready to go.
What would you say to those naysayers that you mentioned who maybe have questions about you returning to the NFL, or even some of the folks that think maybe you don't deserve another opportunity?
Well, hopefully I could change their perspective. Being here around great people, great organization. Hopefully I could win them over in my actions, how I move forward, and how I handle my business.
Next question will come from Sarah Walsh.
Yeah, Antonio, can you talk about your relationship with Tom? Obviously, you've made a debut for a team on a very short week of practice with him before and had success there, and what that relationship is like and how much studying you've been able to do, especially time off the field, staying at his place.
Tom is my boy, one of the greatest leaders to be around. He's encouraging, always inspiring. He brings out the best of the people around him. He wants the best for everyone around him. He's the greatest quarterback all time. None that I've done in the past matter. He always getting better day in and day out. And I just learned a lot from him. How he trains, how he take care of himself professionally, his discipline, his work ethic, his approach. He's been a great guy in my corner and one of my close friends.
Next, we'll go to Scott Reynolds.
Antonio, you've played for Bruce Arians before, and there was a little bit of a social media spat between you guys back in 2019. He said that you had a little too much diva to you. How have you smoothed over that type of interaction that you had in the past? And what was your relationship like with Bruce Arians?
Well, I don't know what was said or what Coach said. I know we have a great relationship. As a kid coming to Pittsburgh 10 years ago, being 20 years old, 21, Bruce Arians was always an asset in my corner. A great coach that's always brought out the best of me. He's always challenging and what he say and what he in regards. But it's only to make you a better person. I had to learn that from a start as a 20-year-old kid. No matter what BA says, he's always got good intentions for his player. I wouldn't be here without him today. So I'm grateful for him for the opportunity to have me here. So owe a lot of credit to BA. Things that I said online, I don't know or pay too much attention to. You know, I know I have a great opportunity here with him, with BA, and this organization, this team. So I'm super grateful for the opportunity he has presented me, and I owe him all the backing.
And then when you look at your fit in this offense, you've had some time to study the playbook now. What are your thoughts on you know, where your role could be? I know you have experience playing all over the field, inside the slide, outside, you know, flanker, split end. How does this offense fit your skill set?
Well, I'm just excited to put my hand in the pile. There's so much great guys here. Excited to play with one of the greatest quarterbacks all time at TB12. I'm excited to be around Mike Evans, Chris Goodwin, you know, Scotty Miller. I'm excited to learn and be around the guys and, you know, motivate the guys and learn from the guys and put my hand in the pile and hopefully help be the reason we win. So I'm just super grateful for this opportunity. Excited to be around the guys and everyone here. And I'm excited to fit in here and do what's best for us to win, whatever that entails.
Next question will come from Joy Knight.
Antonio, how long do you think it will take you to get up to speed with what the Bucs do offensively?
Well, I'm putting the time in right now, studying every night, coming in with Coach Jeffrey early in the morning to late afternoon to make sure, you know, when I get opportunity to be in there, that I don't miss a beat, that guys can count on me, and I could be where they need me to be.
What's it like living in Derek Jeter's house on the water, albeit temporarily?
Well, I'm just excited to be here, man. I'm excited to play. Excited to put my hand in the pile and just be with the guys.
Next question will come from Greg Allman.
Antonio, you mentioned Tom, you mentioned Coach Arians. Just want to ask you about the other people you have here in Tampa that know you, guys like Byron, guys like Antoine Randall, just the support system you have around you, how much that helps give you confidence that this can work better for you than the last two stops.
Well, I got a great support system with these guys here. You know, they're familiar with me. They know who I am. They know what I bring to the table and how I am. So we got a great familiarity. And I'm excited to be here and learn from these guys and put my will on display and show these guys what I'm willing to do.
Next, we'll go to Kevin O'Donnell.
Hey, Antonio, I read where Tom hooked you up with Tony Robbins. Can you kind of talk about the relationship you have with Robbins and what has he done to kind of help you get ready for your return to the NFL?
Well, yeah, I definitely, Tom hooked me up with him a couple months ago. He's been a great asset for me. We're working on myself with them, you know, locking some positive stuffs in my spirit and just being a better person. You know, since a lot of time sitting with them, developing some positive things with them, changing my outlook on a couple of things, battling and getting away from anger. You know, just being able to stay positive and see the positive of things, not letting my emotion or frustration ruin my outlook on what's in front of me. So I really thank Tony Robbins and TB12 for, you know, hooking me up with great people that could, you know, align me with my purpose and help me to see the light in regards of my future.
Do you feel you're a completely different person now that you're back in the NFL?
Well, I just feel like I'm a better person. I want to say I'm a different person, but I'm a better person. Learning a lot about myself, working on myself for a year and a half. So I think I'm a better person.
We have time for a couple more. First, we'll go to Mark Cook.
Hey, Antonio. Tom Brady's he's offered his home to you twice now, and I don't want to say taking you under his wing, but why does Tom Brady believe in you? Where does that relationship come from? And have you ever asked him, you know, why is it that he believes in you, not just as a football player, but as a person?
I think there's a lot of similarities in our work ethic. You know, being guys who are supposed to be underachievers, for guys who, you know, who never supposed to make it. You know, 6th round late boomers. You know, guys who develop chips.
I just want to be the best. Just yearn for being the best. Always growing, getting better. Obviously, he's the greatest quarterback in the world. So I'm just grateful to be here, to be his teammate, to be in the huddle with him, and to be a part of the process here with Tampa Bay. So super grateful. TB12 is my boy, and I'm grateful for that.
Next, we'll go to Luke Easterling.
Antonio, I'm curious as to whether there was, strong interest from teams other than Tampa Bay to bring you in. If so, what were those teams, and what gave Tampa Bay the edge in your decision-making process when you came back?
Anytime you get a chance to play with the greatest quarterback in the world, to be around Bruce Arians, a great offensive guru, like you mentioned earlier, be around a lot of great guys who are already familiar with me from the Steelers 10 years ago. Antoine Randall, Larry Foote, Brian Leftwich, Coach Goody. So a lot of familiar faces that know me personally, more so what people write or what people say. So for me, it was a no-brainer, coming here and being around guys who understand me, and obviously to play with one of the greatest quarterback in the world.
All right, that's all we have time for. Appreciate you taking the time, Antonio.
Thank you.
One claim, one trade. We'll see. We won't really be able to do anything with these players for another week. So, we'll see what happens then.
Gotcha. And one quick question on Devin Asiasi going to injured reserve yesterday. Was that a result of him sustaining a physical injury in practice? Or was that more related to what led to him not making the trip to Western New York, the personal reasons?
Personal reasons for injured reserve. Yeah, Devin didn't travel to Buffalo for personal reasons.
And is that tied to the IR bill? Why he's on there, or is that a separate issue?
No, it's separate. Yeah, he's on injury reserve with an injury, not a personal situation.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Sure.
Next question, Doug Kide, followed by Karen Gregan.
Bill, you had some ties to the 2019 Miami coaching staff, and I know that Brandon Bolden played with Isaiah Ford back in 2018. Would you have reached out to anyone like Brandon or Tyquan Underwood or anyone about what you guys would be getting in Isaiah Ford?
Yeah, we have various ways, of trying to do our research on all players. So it's really would depend on players and the contacts and so forth. But if we have an opportunity whatever opportunities we have to research and gain information on players, that's what we do. We keep those in our personnel records and use them if they're opponents or if the player's available.
Next question is Karen Gregan, followed by Maury Hirschberg.
Good morning, Bill.
Hi, Karen.
I'm just wondering if you've been able to put a finger on the inability of the offense to produce points early in games, and how much of a necessity is it to kind of change that narrative?
Yeah, no, we definitely want to change it and need to change it. So that's not what we are trying to do, but we haven't done a very good job of it so far. So we'll keep working on it and see if we can be more productive in the early part of the game for sure.
Is it a matter of execution or just a combination of factors that have led to that